Good afternoon, Blues fans. Today on the MonBlues podcast, we are joined by three-time Scotland cap Murray McCallum and current Edinburgh rugby player. So, Murray, would you just be able to start and give us a wee biography about yourself?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Obviously, born in Kirkcaldy, born at the Vic, and then lived in Dunfermline all my days until I was 16. Until I was about 16. Then I was there. I was at Cook Primary, Woodmill High, playing down at McCain Park, down at Dunfermline, the rivals. Obviously, that's where I grew up. And then from there, I went up to Strathallan School. Hendel took us up there, which was decent. That was a different experience up there than what it was at Woodmill. I'll tell you that. It was pretty different. It was different kind of walks of life, but it was great experience. Loved every minute of it. And then after the end of that, moved up to Aberdeen after I played Scotland 18s because I didn't get offered any kind of like academy deals or contracts or anything. So tried to get uni a go up the road in Aberdeen, where I was at uni, and then at Grammar. Stuart Coster coached us at Grammar, and Uncle Kev Winus coached us at the uni rugby team. Had a lot of fun with my year up there. Still got a lot of good pals. And then for there, was lucky enough to play 20s, Scotland 20s, and moved down the road to Edinburgh and joined the Nails, joined Heriots, and I've been in Edinburgh ever since. That was 2015, and I've been in Edinburgh ever since. And luckily, I think I've gained 55 caps over the last few years for Edinburgh, 55 appearances, and hopefully counting. Hopefully still got a few years left in me. Depends on this virus. And then, yeah, I'm here now. It's me.
Yeah.
Really.
Murray, just before we go on there, I just want to confirm that this is who he says he is, so I can prove who he says who he is. Alexa, who is Murray McCallum?
Murray McCallum is an author and journalist.
Oh no!
You thought I got it.
Murray McCallum.
Here's something I found on reference.com. Mary K. Andrews.
Oh, who is that? Alexa.
Oh, Corgi, you thought you had it. You thought you had it. You're far too good with technology, you mate.
I should have maybe practiced that one before we did that.
Oh, man. Thought you were being smart.
So Murray, so we'll start off with your time at Dunfermline. So, what have you still got any contacts that you've played with that you've managed to stick like with playing? Wise, have you still got any players that you've played with recently, or?
Not particularly. No, nobody really my age from Dunfermline, but the kind of most recent boys. Well, certainly I'm still with Fraser McKenzie, but I kind of looked up to playing at him when he was at Dunfermline. He was the rising star when I was really wee. So I used to watch him play for Dunphy before he moved to Edinburgh and kind of got drafted to Dundee and Boroughmuir, and then went back down south, came back up, and then. Heriots as well was a few older boys like Clark Smith and Gregor McNeish, Keith Buchan, boys like that. That's kind of the only kind of boys for Dunfermline, I think, that were it. So Hendy, Alex Henderson, any other Dunfermline boys that I don't really want to miss out. Tom Wilson's a Dunphy boy, but he was only there for a bit. He's one of my pals. But quite a lot of the boys that I grew up playing with, obviously Marcus, a cracking player for Kirkcaldy. Me and him were the two kind of props, or he had a go at hooker as well when he was younger. We played together, and then boys at Dunfermline, boys like Paul McKinley, Adam Fraser, Cammy Morgan, they're still all playing at the club.
Well, so he's still got a lot of potential that he could push on, and it's strange to say as a Kirkcaldy boy myself now, direct rugby, Marcus could be playing up at Premier, come Super 6, come even Pro contract level potentially, could he?
Oh, 100%. He's certainly got the frame. He's got the rugby ability. He's a cracking player. Marcus always has been.
Yeah, and then so this season you've been working at Corgi as an assistant coach, reuniting your partnership with Josh Laird from the old days at Strathallan. So how you found that working in a leadership group with Josh again?
Well, it's really good because we saw each other a bit when we left school. Saw each other a bit at Heriots, and then he moved back home, started working back in Fife and working at and playing at Corgi. I'm really glad to see Josh back playing, and he certainly, obviously, we've both matured, but it's great to see Josh coming into a captaincy role as well because he is a great leader. He's I've really enjoyed working with him. He's really easy to speak to. You don't need to beat around the bush, as neither does he with you. But now I really like the Lairds and Josh. Josh has been great to work with this year.
Yeah, and then so when you were at Strathallan with Josh, who were the other players that you had in your team as you went through?
We had a few in our squad. First year when I was there, we had obviously Xander Fagerson and George Horn, all the names that you'll remember, as well as then into my second year, Jamie Ritchie and Cammy Fenton. We all played together. Xander and George obviously at Glasgow, and Cammy and Jamie at Edinburgh and myself. But we had heaps of. We had a really, really cracking team. Unfortunately, never won the cup though. I've got a lot of pals at Watson's that never let me forget that. But hey, it's the way of the road. Yeah,
and then so how did rugby kind of first start out for you before you went to Strathallan and before you were at Dunfermline? How did rugby come about?
Basically, I was too fat to play football. My dad. It was actually from the 40th Fife Scouts. It was down at the Scout Hall, and a boy, Gregor Duncan, he was a year above me. His dad took him down to rugby because Gregor was a bigger kid like myself, and his old man Forbes took him down to rugby, and I can't remember if he enjoyed it at the start. He doesn't play anymore, but Forbes suggested to my old man to take me down, see if I liked it, and yeah, I never looked back really. I was 7 years old. Big Scott took us down to McCain, and it was brilliant. There was no primary 2 teams didn't really start till kind of primary 3, primary 4. So I was playing with older boys, and I think I enjoyed hitting bigger boys as well. So it was good.
I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
Was in that my dad played football, and I know your dad played football. I played alongside him, played against him, and that sort of stuff. I think I played in a police team with him 150 years ago or something like that. We were both whippers. How did he feel then, taking you along to rugby and that sort of stuff? Because I see him now at the club, and he seems to love the atmosphere of the rugby club and that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's been certainly one of Dad's strong points. Is every kind of environment he's taken me into, he's fully immersed himself as well. Because I think it started with the fact that rugby was alien to him. It was a game he'd watch on telly. A game that maybe some of his pals played, and his dad, my grandpa, played at school. But then, obviously, with kind of your generation and my generation, school rugby was at the schools, because when the teachers kind of weren't getting paid for their extracurricular stuff, as you'll know, teams disbanded because they're like, I'm not staying till 8 o'clock at night coaching kids rugby. So he was learning at the same rate I was. I reckon he was learning a bit slower, if I'm honest, but he enjoyed it. He loved watching it. He certainly didn't mind watching me kind of going to scrums as I got older and going to and start properly tackling boys and things. My mum took it until I was about 17 to be able to watch that properly.
Screaming on the pitch, got off my son. She should not like that at all. Paul.
No, she wasn't that bad. God, my dad would have set her to the car.
Yeah, and then so with your with you taking up the role at Kirkcaldy this year, Murray, you've been working with different coaches. Have you found that you've kind of been using ways that your coaches at Edinburgh use to kind of work into life at Kirkcaldy?
I've been trying to incorporate different ways that different coaches have kind of helped me, because I know that you need a bit of tough love sometimes, because I've been on the receiving end of it, and it's worked. I'd say it's worked. because sometimes you do just need a boot up the rear end, and then try to kind of adapt when you know that maybe a player might need your arm around them, just to try and encourage him or kind of take him aside and see what's going on. You do need to kind of spend a bit of time with a team with that. So it was kind of good that during pre-season I saw the team a lot more than I did when I was in season. So I got to know a few of the kind of players that were down a lot, so I could kind of see who's kind of bouncing off who and see what I'm kind of needing to do there. But yeah, and it's been great working with the likes of Quinny and Chris, the two kind of main coaches, and Colin and Dave as well, and Corgi and everyone cutting about. It's been good. Chris obviously coming for the side, and I used to watch Quinn play at Corgi. He was an alright player, I tell you that. And I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed my year here. And it's a shame we kind of cut short with the league and this global pandemic and all that. But yeah, it's because Chris and Quinny are pretty different coaching styles, I'd say. Quinny's a lot more relaxed, kind of laid back. He'll try and see how things pan out first, maybe. Where Chris is kind of more the tough love type, I'd say. So it was good to kind of work with two different styles. I've really enjoyed it. I really got on with both of them as well. Two really good boys and really, really good coaches.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then, so who would you say from your season at Kirkcaldy, who would you say was the best player that you've kind of worked with and you feel like you would, if you had to pick one player to like take to Edinburgh, who would you take?
I wouldn't take Marcus because he'd take my spot. I've obviously grown up playing with Josh. He's a leader. He's a leader on and off the pitch, and he'd fit in. I reckon if he wanted to go pro, he could probably give it a good go. He's a handy player. I used to hate when we had training games at Strath or Cali or anything like that, because that boy could pick up anyone at any weight and dump them right in their arse, and it is painful being on the other end of it. He's never been the biggest boy, Josh, but God, he's got the heart of a lion, that man.
Yeah, and I think we've all probably seen that from the way that he's been playing this season.
Yeah, definitely. He'll run hard when he needs to, but as you can see, he can step somebody in a phone box as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So,
well, compared to some of the other players around about him, he seems to spot a gap or know about running lines and that sort of thing, and getting the guys round about him to work with him. It seems to be able to bring them on to a game as well.
Yeah, because he's a very relaxed player on the pitch, so he's that's again why I think he makes a really good captain, because he even if he is under pressure, under stress, and it's during the game, he can, and we say we're attacking, he'll be able to kind of speak to the boys around him, like you say, help the 10 out, help the boys outside, and tell them to keep way, come in, run, I don't know, snap plays or whatever. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it just makes it look a bit easy sometimes.
It's been good for young Thomas as well, you know, who's obviously sprung into the picture as a 17-year-old and playing some huge games and that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Thomas goes, because I've heard really good things from the Scotland 18s coming through. So it'll be great to kind of see how he kind of gets on the next couple of years, because if he wants a real good go at it, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think he was a bit of an unknown quantity to us and that sort of stuff. We've seen him coming through the coach, and he was doing really, really well, and it was always quite frightening to put in the third top league in Scottish rugby, but he man of the match a number of times. And when I was speaking to him, and he was speaking to the guy from the academy thing about where he's going to university next year, because that will be where he gets lined up. Because we can't hold somebody like that back. This guy has to expand, and fingers crossed.
100%. I've seen clubs do what you're saying that you need to do with Thomas. But I've also seen clubs try to hold players back and just be very selfish in that sense. And you can't. And obviously, Kirkcaldy are a cracking club, and they have been for years. But they do sit in the kind of third tier at the moment. And boys at that age that really want to push on, they need to test themselves in the other leagues. Because again, it's not just with another team; it's against other teams as well, and other coaches, and just see if you like the kind of higher pressure.
As you're saying, there's probably nothing better than, and again, I didn't play Kirkcaldy, I played Glenrothes, but to see Dave McIver and Ian Paxton's photos on the wall and that sort of stuff, but seeing the programmes and that started at Glenrothes and started at Kirkcaldy and started in Dunfermline, started at the Howe, great thing for Fife Rugby, and Fife Rugby, have to grow. And these are the things happen by, as you're saying, not being selfish and worrying about the club, but trying to push people as far as they can go and reap the rewards in reputation and reap the rewards maybe in years to come when, as you said, Josh came back a wee bit and a couple of seasons where he chooses to go and chance again, we can shove him again, and say, good on you, mate. Credit to Kirkcaldy, you're just building a reputation.
100%.
Yeah, and now, Corgi, do you want to open up the bag? Test.
Already, we've only done this once. It's legendary already. Just when I was on tour with an under-18 team, today we were playing a Four Nations thing. Somebody did this. It was a bit like word association, a bit more psychological though. So if I was to say to you, then Murray McCallum, you've played word association before. So if I was to say to you, hammer, what would you say back to me?
Tongs.
Tongs, that's fine, yeah. So if I had nails, head, and that sort of stuff, so hammer and tongs, and that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do, I've got my trusty Kirkcaldy rugby rucksack. See that? Corgi George. Kirkcaldy.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. So I've got my trusty rucksack, and I've got objects inside this rucksack, and I'm going to produce an object. When you see the object, you just shout out the first name in rugby. Now, it could be Heriots, could be the nails, it could be drama.
Name in rugby. Bloody hell. Right, okay.
You know that fits this sort of object, if you know what I mean. Okay, so we've got about half a dozen. All right?
Right, so.
The first one is then a puffer. So he takes a puff as a rugby man.
We'll go...
You can get somebody to bother here. Nothing wrong with it, just vape, and it's just vape.
Yeah, just vaping. Now we'll go puff. I can't even do it. Puff. We'll go Kevin Bryce.
Aye.
Yeah. Ask him about putting a sock on the on the liner of on the smoke detector in St Andrews.
Nice. Entrepreneurial, that is. That's brilliant. Okay, then, mate. On to the next one.
He was just having a hot shower, though.
That's right. We've all had. Okay, mate. Moving on now. The next one's a mobile phone. So, who's addicted to their mobile phone that you know in rugby?
We'll go Blair Kinghorn.
Really? Social media or just about everything?
Everything. Absolute fiend.
Aye?
Fiend on social media. Aye. Instagram. Between him and Dougie Fife.
Oh, really? So it's a speedy.
Dougie Fife told me his screen time last week, obviously we're in quarantine, but his screen time last week was 67 hours in a week.
That's nearly 10 hours a day. All right, mate. One I'm going to put pressure here.
Adam Sinclair.
Eh?
Adam Sinclair, Sinky.
Aye, right enough. Now I should know these better because I'm doing a few flags in against these guys as well.
I was about to say, you know all that.
Right, okay, we'll move on to the next bag of tricks. So, who's Tiger Balm, mate? Who likes a bit of physio work? Who likes the table?
Rory Sutherland. That Tiger Balm, he loves a bit of deep heat on his back, honestly.
It reeks, I do miss the smell of a changing room. It was one of the things that when I took up referee.
It's not quite like going into the sheds at McCain Park after the thirds have played. Seeing Roy Smith lather himself up with bloody deep heat.
The referee. Well, I say that I miss it as referee. That's someone on touch with Willie Anderson, who wears more strapping than any player I've ever met in my life. But that was a different thing. Well, a bit of drink, mate. Who likes a Guinness?
Who likes a Guinness? I'd say, we'll go for one of the Nails boys, Graham Wilson. Fish loves a good. He loves a good pint after the game.
Did you play with Ian then? Ian Wilson as well, the boy for the Howe.
Addy. Yeah.
Addy likes a beer.
He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind if we drink after the game as well.
It's not a puffer. He likes. The last one of these I'm going to bring out, this could really embarrass somebody. So, mate, I've got a bottle of fake tan here. Who do you know that likes a bit of fake tan when they're...
I'm sure you've seen the complexion of himself and his teeth. I'd back Adam Hastings to partake, whether it's fake tan or the bed.
I don't know where he gets it from. His dad and his uncle are the palest guys in the world, you know, so I don't know if he's troubled about that. And listen, go bring
Who knows, mate? Who knows?
At the end of the day. And this is called the wild card. So what I've got is a Lions top. It's the Lions next year, mate. I think my wife and I are going. It's our 30th wedding anniversary. We're going to go and watch the Lions in South Africa.
Very nice, very nice.
A wild card, mate, for going on the Lions. It was I picked you, mate, but.
Oh, I'm sure you've seen a lot of it. I back Big Jim Ritchie to get himself out there.
Really?
As a wild card. If he's taking a youngster, he was certainly one of the best players of the World Cup that he saw. But nah, Jamie Ritchie, I'd say, would
smart player. You know, when and here it comes, here's the referee me coming out. Even when there's 4 pairs of eyes on you, know, a smart player, Jimmy Ritchie.
Yeah. Nah, he is.
Clever.
Always has been since he was younger. He's a good player.
Yeah. Oh, fingers crossed. You know, it'd be nice to see. There's been a couple of Barn tours for Scottish players and that sort of stuff. It'd be nice to see a few guys coming through. I think there's probably 2 or 3 stuck on already to get in the squad, and maybe even 2 or 3 to look at starting the first test.
Oh, 100%. You'd hope to see a few of the boys making the squad, because there's certainly been a lot of boys impressing with the games that we've played in the Six Nations and in the league and that.
Big open pitches in South Africa and the sea level and all that sort of stuff. You know, it's open for a big run of rugby. You know, so you look at. You know, can you imagine the back three you could have with Hogg and Liam Williams and that sort of stuff battling either for wing or fullback and just getting them the ball and running. I really look forward to it. It could be really exciting. Good. Well, that's the bag, mate. Well done on the bag, and thanks very much. And we were just joking about some of the people, honest.
So talking about,
I can change my answer if you want, like, because that was a joke.
So moving on to your teammates at Edinburgh and what you do with them. So who would you say is the hardest trainer, like the one player that you don't want to run into in your training sessions?
Yeah, Schumann. 100%. The boys he's broken in training, the list is endless. Just don't go near him. Just don't go near him.
So what is your normal training week when you're...
Say we've played a game on a Saturday and then we've got a home game the next Saturday. We'll be off on the Sunday. We'll be in the Monday. The Monday will be reasonably relaxed, depending timings in the morning, will depend if you've played or not, or how long you've played. You'll have a bit upper body weights, and then you'll have maybe a walk bike if you're one of the bigger boys, or if you've not played too much. Then you'll be into some reviews. You'll be in a forwards units review, and then you'll have some brunch, like a late breakfast. Obviously, you know what bloody brunch is. But that's the one. They only put one meal on Monday, so it's a bit later. And then there'll be a bit of a break, and then we'll have the afternoon. Well, like after brunch, there'll be some other meetings, like the kind of leaders and defensive leaders and everything. And then they'll have what is it? Yeah, then we'll have a team review of the game. We'll go through that, seeing as we've already done units, and then we'll normally go outside for a quick training session, kind of some flush games, various things, and then bit of units, maybe like forwards will do some lineouts. Tuesday's a bit of Groundhog Day a lot of the time. There'll be a big gym session in the morning. We'll be in for breakfast in the morning, gym session, which will be kind of lower body, full body weights, but emphasis on that's when you'll do your big kind of squats. Your heavier weights will be on the Tuesday. And then after that, again with a bit of a bike at the end for the bigger boys. And then it'll be 10:30, you'll have your forwards quick meeting into review. No, not into review, into actual units. So we'll go outside. We'll probably do some drills depending on what we need to work on and what we're doing for the week. And then end up splitting into 23 for the weekend because we know the team by then. Forwards get told the team in that meeting. And then the non-23, they'll turn their tops inside out. And then they'll kind of part. The 23 will practice a lineage for the weekend. We'll practice we'll practice lineouts for the weekend, and the non-23 will practice the opposition lineouts. They'll have a short menu so we can kind of pretend we're them if you're in that team. And then we'll basically go into 25 minutes of 23 against non-23, and it's we live scrums, live mauls, sometimes some kind of goal line attacking D as well. Inside for lunch, and then after lunch, quick meeting for the weekend, team meeting, and then that'll be your big team session in the afternoon, like live tackle, maybe some breakdown work, run plays, things like that. Maybe some fitness at the end as well, who knows, if Lummers is feeling nice. Off on the Wednesday. Thursday is similar layout. Well, what used to be a similar layout to Tuesday, but there's no contact, there's less fitness. It's kind of shorter, sharper. Still a longish day. Still got your kind of units in your rugby and a gym session as well. Friday would just be, if you're playing, it's just a team run, and if you're not playing, it's a upper body weights and a walk bike, and then Saturday's a game. And then if you're not playing, if you're not involved at all, or the warm-up kind of squad, you'll have some fitness and full body weights as well. But yeah, that's
so a pretty busy schedule to keep you working and keep you on your toes.
Sometimes. People seem to think that we're constantly ill because we don't. The people don't seem to think we have like really long days, but it takes its toll in the end. I'm quite a few boys.
Yeah, and then so what do you like to do in your spare time when you do have time off from your training?
I like. I'm quite social. Well, say I'm a wee bit social. I quite like meet the boys for a coffee. Get out. I like getting out and about. Just meet the boys and just chat. Usual stuff. Get a game a bit, as I'm sure you've seen a few podcasts. Quite a lot of boys are gaming at the moment. I've got an Xbox, so I'm absolutely hammering Call of Duty Warzone right now. Not the best at it, but I'm there. But yeah, and then apart from that, I normally kind of go see the missus after her work finishes off. Either I'll go up to hers or she'll come down to mine. And yeah, it's pretty simple. Pretty simple life. I'm not out and about meeting the boys, I'm at home kind of gaming with the missus.
Yeah, and then from your social media, we see that you're always out for a coffee. But is there always some outside the picture with the coffee usually? Is there usually a wee treat beside that?
Don't know what you're talking about. Nah, no, that is the trick, right?
So, have you got like a group of teammates that you do tend to go out for a coffee with, or do you kind of just whoever?
There's the good thing about Edinburgh. There's no boys that you wouldn't want to go for a beer with. It's a pretty inclusive kind of squad. All the boys kind of get on. I've got the young boys that I grew up playing with, and against like kind of Blair and Cammy Fenton, Jamie Ritchie, Magnus and Lewis Carmichael, boys like that. And then I'm quite close with a couple of boys, Dave Sherry and Simon Bergen, quite a lot. But again, everyone kind of rates a coffee and or a treat if you fancy. Everyone knows. You boys are always keen for that.
Yeah, and then so Richard Cockerell seems to have made a big impact to the Edinburgh squad over the last wee while, especially the last few seasons with the going further in the Champions Cup to the game against Munster, and being top of the conference until this pandemic took over. So what do you think's been the difference that he's put in place?
The main thing is just discipline. Become a lot more disciplined squad on the pitch. Boys have started wanting to work for each other, wanting to work for the boys, work for the team, things like that. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely the main thing. And then the boys have just kind of reacted pretty well to it, as you've seen. So that's kind of the bottom line.
Yeah, and from being in Edinburgh, being at most of the home Edinburgh games, you do see there's been such a difference, and like Edinburgh's defence is probably one of the best in the league now.
We've that's obviously Cockers is the head coach, but our kind of defence coach Kitty McRae, he's pretty anal on his detail and all his stuff. He does a lot of analysis before the games, and boys will think it's quite tedious at times, but it certainly works. The stuff that we've done. He's a cracking coach, and you've seen on the pitch, one of the best defences in the league. The boys want to tackle, which is the main thing.
Yeah, and then in Edinburgh squad, before Richard Cockerell came in, it looked like there was more of a disconnect between the forwards and the backs, but now it seems to all just be free-flowing, and the forwards really seem to have the set piece nailed, and is really one of Edinburgh's strengths.
I wasn't joking when I said that Tuesday morning unit session was it's pretty tasty.
Yeah,
Boys worked hard for it because like you say, we've got a strong set piece team. That's because we've got strong boys across the board. So when we are training, it's tasty.
Yeah, and then so outside the kind of playing, who's kind of like the dad of the squad that everyone kind of looks up to and has got like the old head?
We've got quite a young squad, I'd say. Big Fraz McKenzie, hate me saying it. He's one of the older boys. He provides a lot of crack, but boys look up to Fraz a bit, and obviously Rambo being captain, Stu McAnally, he gets his dad cap on sometimes, and kind of he'll, because he is captain in his position in the squad, in the national squad, he'll need to kind of play the kind of dad role sometimes if things need toned down a bit. And but again, because everyone respects everyone, boys listen. There's no qualms when someone's questioned like that from one of the senior players. But yeah, between kind of Stu McAnally and Grant Gilchrist and Big Fraz, they'll probably be your senior players amongst the boys.
Yeah. And one of the big topics in Edinburgh probably just now is Duhan van der Merwe, just for the pace, the strength, because the South Africans seem to be one of the big things in Edinburgh just now, being the fan favourite, being some of the fan favourites. So, what would Duhan seems to just be such a powerful player? What do you kind of think of his playing style?
Oh, he's absolutely lightning quick, and he's not the lightest boy in the world, as you can see. He's not that small. So when he's running at you at full pace, and you've not got your big boy kind of tackling boots on, you know where you're going, and it's no forward. He's a seriously kind of abrasive runner. He's a big boy, and you wouldn't want to get in his way. And if you do, all the best.
Yeah, and it's just one of the things that Edinburgh have been really lucky to have is such a class back three with Kinghorn, Darcy, and Duhan, and then you've got a lot of depth behind that as well.
Oh, definitely. Well, we've got Damien Hoyland, we've got the Sledgehammer as well, Roney, and we've had Sevens boys, Dougie Fife and Big Tam Brown. Boys been putting in shifts all over the shop, and then we've obviously got the youngsters like Jackie Blaine coming through.
Yeah, and then moving towards your kind of own position now, that's probably where there's a lot of depth, because you look at all the tight heads that Edinburgh have got, who are all internationals now. It must be quite hard competition.
It's tough, but it's certainly kind of spurred me on to try and try and work hard, because a lot of what I've realised this year, that there's a lot of my game time in the past that might have come at others' misfortune, other people kind of getting injured or maybe falling off, and then they've kind of chucked me in. So this year, everyone's been fit, everyone's been good, and I've kind of had to sit back and look at it and be like, right, maybe you did kind of slip off at one point, and now you're not there, so just you need to graft now, and not slip off. And I can't be annoyed when I've got boys who are international. I can be annoyed. I can't be. It's not like they're doing a bad job. When I've got boys like WP, Berge, Chech, kind of playing ahead of me when they're going out and doing it in the international field as well.
Yeah, so this is going to be a hard question. Out of the tight heads, if you exclude yourself, who would you say is the best tight head that Edinburgh have?
Bloody hell, where are you posting this podcast, mate?
Didn't see this question coming.
Well, you know, you've seen WP in his days, kind of up there with the best in the world. Berge's fit. Berge, over the last few years, certainly since Cocker's come in the last couple of years, Berge's become like a top scrummager, and he is, not even for a prop, he's one of the fittest in the squad. Yes, the top two boys, they are both very good players.
Yeah,
that's what you're getting.
Yeah, and then what Edinburgh seem to have, another thing that's really improved is discipline. As you've already said, that Richard Cockrell kind of brought that into the game, but possibly before, where Edinburgh used to give away a lot of silly penalties and yellow cards that would probably cost them the close games, if ever was. Has there been, what changes have been made or what's been put in place to kind of make sure that that doesn't happen?
Well, again, obviously nobody wants to do it anyway, but nobody really wants to put themselves in a position where they're the boys that cost the team, because boys care about the team, so maybe their heads don't wander as much in games, and they don't think, oh, maybe I'll get away with it, or it won't cost me, or it won't cost us. Boys just don't want to do that for the team at all.
Yeah, and then now to finish off the last question, come back to players. Who would you say is the best player that you've played with throughout any team?
I'm not gonna lie. George Hornet at school was a freak. That boy ran the show. And recently, there's like so many boys that come into form and keep class form. But one person that hasn't dipped watching him and playing with him, obviously she can agree, is Hamish Watson. He's certainly a fan favourite on the national level, and being able to play with him's no half bad. And between him and Big King Bill Mata, he's Big King of Fiji. He's some man, Big Bill. He's and as you've seen, he's been an absolute monster on the kind of Pro 14 European World circuit the last few years.
Yeah, and you definitely look into that Edinburgh back row, and you've got five. You've got at least 5 or 6 world class players. Who could all do a job in the national team. So a lot of competition there, and
exactly.
good players to be around with, and you see that on the Scotland team having an all Edinburgh back row and all very good players. And Jamie Ritchie.
Exactly. You see the boys who are playing in the national team, you see the boys who are on the bench and then left out, and it's just frightening. And that's just the Scottish national team.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your time, Murray. That's been very good of you coming on the podcast. So thank you very much.
Hope it turns out all right. Thanks for having us, lads.
Thank you.